They called me Bose James, and in 2011 I decided that I was going to have a vasectomy. And why was this so? Because my better half could not manage the other forms of family planning. And that is because she tried all forms of family planning and they were not working. They were not fair on her. And so we decided that we were going to have vasectomy. So it was a collective decision. It was not a one-man army. Yes, I have children. And so that is why we decided we didn't want any more children. And since she could not manage the family planning, I was going to take up that road. And it's not an easy road because a lot of people ask me, a lot of my friends, when I tell them, oh, I did vasectomy, and they're like, wow, 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 wow. It looks like you're impotent. And I'm like, no, I'm not impotent. The only thing they do in vasectomy is to close up the tubes that carry the seed. That is the actual sperm, but not the semen. So you still are able to ejaculate like anybody else, but your ejaculation does not have any sperm head. And that is the major difference. And that is one thing that a lot of people don't understand. So a lot of people think that once you touch your manhood, then you are done. You are off the field. No, I'm still very much in the field. And I still very much can do marathon. I think for her it was a relief because then it takes her off all methods of family planning. So she doesn't use any of them. And she doesn't have to be worried about falling pregnant again because the children we have are already enough. Vasectomy is a very private thing, but now it reaches a point when you have that discussion and then guys are like, what do you think about it? And then I go like, but I did it. And the look they give me is those ones of, are you sure you're okay? And I tell them I'm very, very much okay. It doesn't change anything because the only difference is the tubes that carry the sperms are the ones that are closed up. But the rest operates like normal. How many children do I have? I have 6 children. Yeah, and I think those are enough. I underwent this procedure nearly 11 or 12 years ago. The strange thing is you undergo it, you will undergo it under local anesthesia, which means you're just injected to numb the area. The incision is very small. It is not visible. It is a very tiny incision. The experts know where the tube is. They pull it out. You actually at that. All this happens while you're looking and you're seeing what is happening. They pull it out and then they chop it off, tie it, return it back in. There's nothing like even stitching because the incision is very small on your scrotum and there's nothing like stitching, and then all is done up. Okay, you'll have a little pain when the anesthesia goes away, but again you're on painkillers and it takes a very short time, you know. But of course, you are advised how long you should take before you engage your partner and how many times should you be able to ejaculate before you become totally seedless. Personally, I don't have any regret because again, when you're going for it, and this is the advice that I would give a lot of guys, when you want to go for such a process, seek professional advice, seek counseling so that you are sure of what you're doing, because that is a one-way highway. Once you've followed that road, there's no return. You have to go to the end of it, you know. So personally, I don't have any regrets because I did it soberly and I wanted it. I did it because I wanted it. But when you do it out of anger or you do it out of peer pressure, then of course you can regret. But for me, I did it because I wanted it and I have no regret. I think it is also important for men to try and take up this challenge of taking care of their own families by offering this chance of family planning to their wives. It is a huge relief, especially in spaces where the other methods of family planning are not working very well with your partner, there is no harm in you taking up the responsibility and being the man of the day, and calling it a day and saying, hey, darling, we are in this together, so let me take this responsibility, shoulder it. It's not heavy, and it's a very easy thing for a man. And how nice is it to live knowing freely that your wife is not subjected to monthly pills or by monthly injections or anything like that. I think men also need to be able to have this lengthy discussion with their partners. The notion out there is that when you undergo vasectomy, it's like you become impotent. No, you do not become impotent. It's a medical procedure, and
You said, what? Can you repeat that?
the notion out there among a lot of guys that I talk to is that when you undergo vasectomy, you become impotent. You do not become impotent. That's just a myth, because it's a medical procedure which research was done and it was found to be effective. So the issue about impotence goes away. But again, in major cultures around our country, people don't want to talk about it. People don't think so. It's just like in case of infertility. When a woman doesn't give children, it is easier for men to start condemning the woman of being infertile. But actually, if they go and undergo tests, you discover that maybe it's the man who has the challenge. So it is the culture around us dictates that a man should not be touched in most cultures. Actually, I talk to people and they are like, hey, no, do not touch that part of a man. But it's nothing new about it. It's a procedure that has been going on for years in the West, and it is one of the best ways to manage population. If you asked me, vasectomy would be one of the best ways to manage population, you know, because it doesn't have side effects. There's no side effects on vasectomy, apart from what you probably would say that someone would want to regret later. But again, it goes back to what I said. Seek professional advice, seek counseling, and make it a collective decision. Don't make it an individual decision. Talk to your spouse about it, agree. If you do not agree, don't go for it. But talk to her and agree about it. And I think if you agree, two cannot work together unless they agree. If you agree, then it is easier and smooth. Hey, thanks, guys. My friends find it very funny. It's very interesting. I have this one particular friend that I talk to, and I've known him for many years. And when I told him I did vasectomy, he was like, "What? Get out of here!" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" See, how can you get rid of yourself? So, you know, he used the Luo idiom that says, I'm free in my trouser. I'm trouserless. I mean, there's no life inside there. But really, actually, it's nothing like there's no life in there. The only difference is they clip off the seed tube, but they leave the rest as normal, you know. The rest operate as normal. My advice would be to the young people who are getting married, sit down with your spouse and discuss all these possibilities. What if it doesn't work out? Can we go that road? Discuss it in advance. Before you even enter into that relationship, discuss these policies in advance. Because at the end of the day, when you discuss them, when they are coming, they are airing their head, it's nothing shocking. It's a normal thing. It's a normal occurrence. It's a normal happening.